Hello and welcome to Link Cadre, the War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Should I interrupt you now, Mike, or wait till later?
I mean, if you waited till
Shall
later,
I wait till later or interrupt you now?
So, it's...
Good point. That is a fair point. I did think of that. Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I'm Mike.
I'm Kurt.
It's just the two of us again. It's kind of weird.
It is.
So, for this episode, I think, as a follow-up to our previous one, where we were discussing the Shadows and Scum box, Kurt, you've had a little bit of experience actually having some playtime on the table.
I have. So I've been playing. We got the Steamforged games really kindly sent us an advanced copy of the Shadow and Scum box. I mean, we opened them in the last episode, but I got them together and got some paint on them gradually. I've managed to get 3 games in with the box against one play against the other. So 2 games with just literally the contents of the box, and a third taking it up to 50 points. It was really good fun. I've done a blog post actually, which we can put up once we've made sure that everything we're spelling is correct and there's nothing complete mess, up on our elitecadre.uk. But I thought it'd be good to talk through the games that we had and the missions we chose, just on the basis because I thought 30-point steamroller is not really going to work very well.
No.
But so we looked at the scenarios in. I have to read my writing and work out where they are. They're in the Battleforged missions. They're in the War Machine app.
Okay.
Have you ever played any of those?
No, I take it that I know Matt Hart was talking about doing scenarios more specifically aimed at lower points. So I guess that's the kind of.
They are. I think some of these at least were Private Press that have been there a while, but we definitely gained some more. I couldn't tell you which one were there before and how many have been added. I had looked at them, but not in any great depth because. If you can't play that many games, you kind of want to play Steamroller to get the practice in for the next tournament. Not that we're playing a hell of a lot of those, but still keep very focused on Steamroller. But so we literally broke out 30 points each, just the battle box, if you like, the cadre box each, and played. We started off with Kill the Messenger.
Okay.
Which is quite. There are several, quite a few, I think about 6 that you can play 30 or 50 points. And this one had some prescribed scenery layout, and you lay out 9 very small 20mm objectives. So I think we put pennies out on the table to represent them because we didn't have that many. So like a matrix of 9. So 3 close to you, 3 across the middle, and 3. So think like incursion, but like treble. And the idea is that you name one of your solos to be the messenger, and you can visit any one of it's sort of capture, but visit any one of the objectives closest to you, any one then in the middle afterwards, and a subsequent round. But you have to predetermine the one on the far side. So you have to kind of on a secret bit of paper, jot down which one you're going for on the far side.
Yeah.
It was really good. I did think, as I made a note in my box report, that I thought I was playing Trolls, by the way, I should add.
Yeah,
which should be obvious to those that have listened to the podcast before. That I thought Chimera was going to take it because that if you've looked at the Shadow and Scum box, they all fly and they're all fast. They're all the rules are all out now. So the other side to this is that Steamforged were very generous in releasing an early beta version of the rules, so we were able to play it before the rules came out just to see how it behaved, how both armies behaved. But yeah, I felt that this was we chose the mission, got it laid out, and when I actually sunk in what we were doing, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm just going to get outmaneuvered and die, or just lose. But actually turned out to be really good fun. I think as well, just going back over the whole kind of concept, looking at the models and looking at the initial drafts of the rules, it didn't seem like an evenly balanced box. It felt like the Chimera were very fast, but also quite hard hitting.
Yeah,
Trolls had some resilience, but had 2 solos that seemed a bit silly and didn't do a great deal. It didn't feel balanced. I felt that it would be quite hard. I thought the Lockamash Brothers, the character unit for Trolls, was good, but not as good as my experience was with them. They're very, very good.
Yeah.
So that was the first one we tried. I don't know how much detail to go into. We haven't really been a podcast and talked through blow by blow for quite a long time, have we? And that's not really been our.
No, we did kind of ban proper battle reports from about episode 9.
No, that's a while ago. That's 100 episodes to this very episode, come to think of it.
Oh, no, it's sad. No, the Golden Troll episode, if anyone remembers that one.
Oh, no.
Where it was, I think, 3 people.
I rolled a 6, and then he rolled a 3.
Yes, 3 people going through about 4 battle reports each, and by the end of editing, I was ready to throw the entire PC out of the window, set fire to it, and then scatter the ashes at sea.
So if I can round up my first game more briefly in that case, then rather than no talk of dice will be mentioned at all. I think that the Chimera would have the upper hand in that, with experience, would definitely have the upper hand in that mission. However, my opponent didn't quite have his positioning down and thought he was out of range of the Lockerbash brothers. He wasn't. I think both of us underestimated their speed. They're speed 6, but with a 2-inch melee and gang and sidestep, they have some pretty intimidating threat range. And there's only 3 of them with gang and
you have forgotten their relentless charge as well.
I'd say that.
Which is going to be deceiving for some people as to how far they can go.
Yes, because you kind of go, well, they've got a Pathfinder and they've got +2 damage on the charge, I believe, as well, and they hit really hard. So he thought he brought the character unit, which is now the name's always giving me, and I'm not looking at it. He brought his character unit up, took some pot shots, did some damage, and then they backed off again because they were repositioned. And then the Lockerbash brothers charged in and just removed them. They thought they'd be hard to hit, they'd be difficult, but of course, gang just makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
taking sidestep.
Taking Mat 6 up to Mat 8 is
huge. And then with sidestep to maximize gang. So even though we had one that wasn't connected, you take a sidestep after you kill one, suddenly we've got gang. It was just pretty good.
And gang in the modern version of the game where you're effectively only charging with one and placing 2 others.
Yep.
Oh, that's with a 2-inch melee. That's a lot of coverage.
And then you kill the first one, which has got gang, but then you make sure the other 2 definitely have gang by sidestepping in between them.
Yeah.
Covering all bases. With 2-inch reach on gang is lovely.
I will say that I do have to go to my local club and correct someone, because just looking at the Lockerbash Brothers card at the moment, I heard them complaining when they're at clubs like, oh, the Lockerbash Brothers, I don't know if they're worth it. I mean, they're a lot of points, and then they're only 1 health. And I'm now looking at it as like, they've got 10 each. I mean, they're only armed 14. That, it's not going to last them too long. It's, maybe a few hits. But, like, it's a bit of a difference between 1 hit point and 10.
And Sanguine Bond.
Oh, yes. So you can...
to spread the damage around.
Oh.
So they're not dead until they're all dead, unless you do a very, very big hit on one, in which case it's not worth it. But the other learning I think from this game was Atlas, the heavy war beast on the Chimera side, charged in and tried to take out Chum. I had underestimated how resilient Chum was. Chum is just like Atlas has flailed around against Chum, and Chum was like, "What?" It was great.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, he's arm 19.
He's armor 19. He's got more boxes than any other troll war beast outside of the gargantuans.
But also hyper regen, snacking.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very difficult to bring down.
And inflicts minus fury on other war beasts.
It's a new one, isn't it?
Oh, that's unpleasant.
Yeah, so I think we missed that in the first game. We didn't see that. We didn't pick up on that. But yeah, you're right. You suddenly can't make as many attacks because you can't push your fury up that far.
Yeah.
So it was an educational game. We did learn a lot. But the short version is the flying Sully Pelican, managed to get his message delivered, so to speak, by just because after a while I had more pieces than could outmaneuver.
I'm sorry. I've just seen Chum's Animus. No, not allowed. That's ridiculous. So, on top of the hyper regeneration and the snacking, you also get excessive healing, which is the you can't kill this model rule.
I mean, you have to really mean it. Yes. So when you get hit, you heal D3 every hit. So long as you don't die, you heal D3 every time you hit. So when you're flailed at by lots of little spiky things, he goes, "Yeah, I heal D3. Yeah, I heal D3."
I can see why this is a very tasty 16-point beast, to be honest.
He's awesome. He's really nice.
I mean, okay, the speed's nothing to write home about, but the mat and the arm, pretty good for a beast.
The threat range isn't huge. The threat range in general isn't huge, but he's resilient. Yeah.
And Fury 4, that's okay. But yeah. Crit consume with grievous wounds and warhead.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mancatcher.
Yeah, I mean, which is kind of situational, but has potential.
I mean, it's still a third free attack.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's that's one to watch out for.
He's really, really good.
Yeah.
Big fan.
I can see why it's a character.
Yes, too many of these. I have to admit, building the model, it made me think, I'd like to take these arms off and turn this into, magnetize it like we used to with the previous older models and turn it into a standard troll just for a laugh. But you just don't need to do it. It'd be fun, but there's no need.
So, having gone through your 3 games, you kind of got the idea that maybe it's a little bit more balanced between the 2 forces than you originally thought.
That was definitely my takeaway. So, my little conclusion that I've written at the end of the post, which we'll put up on the blog, was there's more balance than first impressions seemed. Much like the Signar and Kador cat and mouse games, the first plastic box, which one can hide, one can see through the hiding in clouds and such. The trolls could definitely last longer in a fight, but if Chimera stay out of range and manage to get that first strike, it can be anyone's game.
Yeah.
Which is true of their factions as a whole, to be perfectly honest. Trolls are never going to get that first strike. Even with the changes in January, they've lost an awful lot of their speed buffs. They're never going to get into the fight first. However, when they are resilient, they will survive. They're not like old school trolls with the stone and the bubble and everything else and massive armor buffs. Yeah. However, they have still got a good selection of armor buffs. And Foulblood is very much an upkeep caster. I think somebody was comparing him to old school Striker with his stats being 15 and 16 and just having a lot of upkeeps. And it comes with
Blur and Fortify.
Yeah, which is quite strikery, isn't it?
That's and as well as that, you've got the whole feat of the friendly warrior models with Stumbling Drunk gain +3 arm. It's not making stuff unkillable.
No.
But it makes it an awful lot worse to chew through.
He can grant Stumbling Drunk as well, it's worth noticing, because he has battle plans, and one of his battle plans is Open Bar, which is models within 10 of him gain Stumbling Drunk.
Of course, yeah.
And he has Walk It Off, which is basically Shake for faction warrior models within 10, which is quite nice to lose knockdown, stay stationary, and continuous effects, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I think he's not setting the world on fire, but what he's doing well.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of nice flexibility. I've noticed this with a lot of the casters now. They do like to put battle plans on them, just so you do have that kind of, I can do a unique mini featish thing every turn. Which is pretty good. Although it does seem to have moved a little bit away from the feats of here's an effect that you already have, and here's an effect that you already have, but now you do them together. Because obviously he's like, hey, Stumbling Drunk +3 arm, and you can choose the direction. That's playing very much off what he's bringing to the table elsewhere. And certainly,
it's nice synergy of combining those things together, and doing positive things with it rather than something random or unconnected. Or he's a sensible troll, which is something we've not been used to for a while.
No, it's certainly a very very interesting look. And yeah, the way that trolls are like filling out now, going from it's like, here's some pirate trolls, and then like here's some fire frogs, and now here's the British Navy.
Yeah,
I was like,
although it does make me wonder if this cadre is a hint to what we might see on the other side as the second troll army. In the and by that I mean it's more of a military force. It's weird, wacky, but it's trolls. But wondering if we are looking at if the second army might be something a bit more Creo Company-esque, perhaps, that this would connect to. But you don't know. We'll wait to see it. But pure speculation.
Yes, I think there's a lot of speculation going around at the moment because obviously we saw the images from Gamma, which had a purported release schedule for the rest of this year, but with a lot of redacted on there for anything we kind of didn't really know about. So.
I'm quite. Have you seen? I'm quite enjoying the. There's a little. Oh my god, the words go out of my head. For Adepticon, there is a card, a keyword card.
Yes.
Bingo is the word I lost halfway through the sentence. Yes, of keywords, which is quite entertaining. The things they're going to talk about, what things we might hear.
I did see that. That was very amusing. I mean, some stuff very definitely like not happening.
Some of it very definitely very likely to happen. Which is quite nice as well. Yes, some of it is silly.
Yes, true. I'm just trying to see if I can...
I had it in my WhatsApp, actually.
I can never remember where the stuff's on the UK version of the War Machine website, or the... there we go. So, you have your free square in the middle, obviously. Crick's Colossal Reveal? Yeah, I think you might see some promo art, but I don't think you see anything else.
No. Right.
Gators? No, absolutely not. Gravedigger 80 mil? I think you're more likely to see something else from Gravediggers. I don't think they're going to go for... Like, we've only seen on the site the first... the Battle Group box and one other. I think you're more likely to see something else from that. Men off Dinosaurs.
Yeah, no.
It's a meme. It's certainly a meme.
It's a meme. It's a meme that Matt has already said no, not for quite a long time, if ever.
Yeah. War Machine Hordes TCG announced. I mean, they tried with an LCG. Back when SmogCon was going. I loved that game. I think it was absolutely.
I enjoyed it. I've still got quite a lot of it. I haven't played it in forever, but I liked it.
I have all of it sleeved in appropriately coloured sleeves.
I shouldn't be surprised, should I? Ready to put it on.
Oh, that was right up my street. Loved it to pieces. Couldn't find the errata on it for the world of me, but most of it kind of makes sense.
I enjoyed it. I played it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. YouTuber appears. I guess probably. Yeah. It makes sense that content creators be involved in things, I guess. Deathjack returns. Well,
That might be likely.
Deathjack doesn't need to return. Deathjack's already around, and it actually plays.
Well, you could debate. What was the one you read it just now? You read it a quick colossal. I know. It'll be 80 mil. I mean, actually, it can't be the Crooks 80 mil. We've already had the Crooks 80 mil, haven't we? So it can't be that.
We know where Deathjack is, though, because Deathjack is Karchev, and Karchev is Deathjack.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another 2-player starter set. I think they'll lay off those for a little bit.
I think it will be 6 months before we get one of those. We've only just had the current one. So release date for the current one is what, this Thursday?
Yes, I believe so. Something like that. I think we've got 2 now. I think they'll sell through what stock they have those, and once they're starting to get down to lower numbers of what's there, maybe they repackage them as like 2 separate halves. Don't know.
Yeah.
But like, it's going to be a good long while before you get another like Hordes or War Machine box.
I think you're right.
I know it's not Hordes, but you've got the Fury-based casters and the Focus-based.
Yes.
Which it's good.
You're right. We've got more. I think we've got more card rays, but I think you're right. 2-player the hips 2-player starter things. Yes, you're right. It's going to be quite a while before getting that one. Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing those card rays and hips now. Just maybe, not all of them.
I mean, separately as hips. Maybe.
Certainly for newer ones that were planned after the acquisition, should we say? I think you probably see them, but we'll see.
Cool.
It just all in capitals. Bears. I think
that's foregone. I think that's definite.
That's incredibly likely. What with Kador Circle, not that we had an unofficial in the app rules leak of that several months ago.
In any way,
yeah, I think that's somewhat likely. A musical number seems unlikely. I don't know how Jamie P's pipes are these days.
I think there was some comment or dare on some kind of one of the Discord conversation, one of the Reddit conversations a while ago. Maybe it's come out of that. I don't think it's likely. I don't know.
Maybe you could go for a Rich Loxon, Matt Hart boy band thing going on.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I can see a kind of NSYNC kind of black and white dance thing. Yeah,
that could work. Zoo. No.
Yeah, this would have my group asking what Zoo is, and I'm like, okay, we're now explaining Zoo again.
No, it's again not happening. I think that's up there. That's Men Off Dinosaurs again. It's second part.
There's more to Zoo than Men Off Dinosaurs. There's weird frogs, and there's totem hunters, and who knows what else.
Yeah,
snakes.
True.
We decided the snake. You're the elf girl with the snake sidekick that used to be mercenary.
Oh yeah, Dahlia Hillier and Scarath.
Yeah, so the snake was from Zoo as well.
Was it?
We looked it up earlier.
I thought that was meant to be across the War Machine world, but okay, fair enough.
Oh, maybe, but I said originating, or I can't remember. Something was found in some Necronomicon somewhere.
I could look it up.
Not Necronomicon.
I do. I do have the 2 current version Monsternomicons in this room, so yeah, I could look it up.
Well, how badly do you want to be right on the internet? That doesn't sound like you at all, Mike.
I don't care enough. I have honestly at this point ceased caring about being right on the internet all the time. It's a waste of my time. I do,
how many years has that taken?
I do enough of that. I do enough of that at work, frankly, and I'm not getting paid for this stuff. Official War Machine Hordes terrain, where it wouldn't be War Machine Hordes, it'd be War Machine terrain.
Indeed.
That's an interesting question.
I don't think it's an if. I think it's a when. And is it now? I think it's probably not now.
No, I don't think it's now. I think you right in that one. I think there's probably.
I think they are definitely doing it though. I think it's definitely coming.
Yeah, we've seen the fences, we've seen the pools, which are actually pretty nicely done. I mean, they are the easiest and cheapest terrain to do flat. If, however, they are the first company to come out with a both cost-effective and nice-looking, for instance, forest in a box, that would be nice, because I've tried looking for those, and unless you're willing to do your own basing, which can be a task of itself, and put some Battlefield in a Box trees on there, it's just a pain.
I'm quite happy with my palm trees from the desert island terrain, which is in the photos. That I'm quite enjoying. I did my own basing and did my own kind of, and then made, as in to make little clumps of 3 or 4 palm trees on a sandy base that then you put on top of a 2D marker. That's quite nice. I'm quite happy with that. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I mean, that's about what I'm doing for my 40k and Age of Sigmar forest at the moment. So, although the club does have the required MDF templates for a forest with a single 3D printed tree that you put in the middle.
Nice. Required.
So, next up, Dusk Colossal reveal.
That's just nailed on certain. It bloody well better be. What? Sorry, not that I'm passionate about that.
You live in hope.
I want the Phantasm floaty warjack.
I mean,
what?
It's plausible. I think it depends on how much they want to throw at Adepticon as a release thing, doesn't it? Really,
they're doing it. The fact that they're doing a big speechy thing is a slight indicator. At least
they're doing a keynote. I think, like the Crix one, I think that one will be concept art at best.
Oh.
I think some of these we'll see some models. Some of these will be that's an interesting question, because
it's going to be a long time with that new Dusk stuff if they've got concept art for it now and nothing else.
Well, we're going to go. I'm going to go on a slight tangent here, but we've noticed recently that they're not releasing as many like 3D sculpt PNGs of models. They're actually trying to get a lot more. Here's a fully painted thing that you can see. So I think with
more enticing.
Yeah, with what's slated, I think we see art, and I think we see fully painted models. I think that those 3D renders will be kept to as minimal as possible, and I reckon Colossals would still be at the we've got renders and we're doing test print stage, because they've just had to go back and do rapid rebuilds on
balloons,
on the balloons and on the Cador Colossal. Because the Cador Colossal was out of stock for goodness knows how long, because it was fundamentally broken. Which
yes, I've forgotten that.
Yeah, which a lot of these things you can't detect until they're out in the wild. You go, oh, that's bad. But even. And a lot of people will not remember this. The original Cador Colossal from Mark II actually had multiple versions. I'm not talking about just like, oh, here's Victor, oh, here's the other one. No, the original Cador Colossal came in 2 versions because they re-engineered the legs because they weren't strong enough as a 2-part metal and resin thing. They re-engineered them into a single resin piece.
Wow.
Now I don't know.
Sure I knew that.
I only found out when I got a replacement part. Because my Cador Colossal, I admit I did abuse missing parts just a little. In that I said one of my Cador Colossals has come missing a leg. After I'd lost the part in a rapid unscheduled disassembly of said model. So that got replaced, and the part that came was like, oh, the metal bit's just built in now. That's interesting. So, yeah. So, Dusk Colossal reveal. I think we see concept art. I don't think we see final model.
Oh. I mean, concept art means I can proxy it if I can get it. Yeah. Well, I can build a proxy out of a concept art. I've done that before. Papercraft I can do.
Next one. Nope. Roll Guard Mark IV Army. Nope. Not happening. No.
There's a lot of people want that.
This is the thing, though. It's like a lot of people were after, new role for Mark III. It's like, there's not enough of you. Like, it's a very small dwarf faction in a game already overloaded with factions. We don't need another one.
A lot of people wanted Crix, though, and it didn't happen.
So, yeah,
just saying.
I don't think Roll Guard's happening. Not now, anyway.
No, I don't think so either, basically, but yeah.
New Mercenary? I'd say that's...
It's not an army. It's just saying New Mercenary. I think that's a good odds.
Decently safe bet. We've seen very limited numbers of mercenaries so far. And I think they're trying to keep a cap on what's there, because certainly the mercenary solos in Mark III, they blew out the game at the tail end. There were so many of them, and why would you bother with half? Whereas I think a lot of the mercenaries we've seen so far in Mark IV, it's a real choice to have them because they're expensive. Like, there's not very many cheap ones, but...
Well, they're not cheap in pounds and pence or points.
That's true. But what does go down on the table, they have a real effect. Like, obviously you've got Big Pig and Magnus at the top end at like 20 points each. They go down the table. That's an impressive piece. That's an 80 mil Jack or Beast with a caster. Great stuff. But then you've got like, the name's gone. Help.
Pig. Do you mean like, is that what you're going? Or not, you go somewhere else?
7 point circle caster thing. Kruger.
Kruger.
Kruger at 7 points. It was originally 5, I think, and then went up to 7. It's like even.
Yes, it was. I was putting him on the table at 5. 7 feels a lot to me, but I know other people really liked it. It was still at 7.
Even at 7, that's still a powerful model.
Yep.
And then you kind of got your Alexias and your Eris's at like 4s and 5s, and you compare those to the in-faction solos where 4s where it kind of almost tops out for most things. And you get lots of 3s.
I'm liking 2 point solos. That's what my money is. I like 2 point solos.
Kador battle mechanics, 2 points. Like,
Booty Boss and the troll medic, surgeon, 2 points.
Yeah.
Just really nice.
But it's one interesting pattern that's been good to look at so far is that in general, things do 2 factions. So
yes,
if you wanted to play a game where you worked out what was next, I think we're all level at the moment. Once any new mercenaries come out, you start working out where your new mercenaries go. Actually... Oh, that's a point.
I don't know that we're level. I don't think we are level because there are still some weird ones that work for very few or one or so. But they may be. They just feel like almost faction, don't they?
Yes. Oh yeah. I think we've got 1 for Old Umbre so far.
Yes.
So I think
so.
If
you hair riding, what's his face?
Yeah, if you see anything, you're going to see another one that does Old Umbre and something else.
I do like the way that they're not always obvious how the split is. Sometimes it's like, it's the 2 halves of the army. It's a fact, but it's the same faction. But I like the way that they split differently. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I could see. Ooh, that's interesting. Old Umbre and what? Because you've kind of got that very... I could see... So you've got Dusk over there, which is kind of undead, which isn't going to go with the circle stuff, so I wouldn't put money on that. Save your cricks.
I mean, you could definitely go Old Umbre and the other Kador, but that's not very interesting, and that's probably inevitable in some respects, but it's not exciting.
Yeah. I mean, potential for something that's more... that goes with the Brine Bloods as well? I think that's probably...
I struggle there.
Yeah, I don't know. That could be. I mean, it could be a double Kador solar or something for all we know. But hey, let's wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gravedigger airship.
Airship.
Yeah.
Flying sheep. Gravedigger flying sheep.
Like the super sheep from Worms. Gravedigger airship. I don't think they're going to be doing much more airship related for the game for a little while after the slightly wilty balloons.
Indeed.
I mean, I think we've got the aerial power of the Gravediggers pretty much represented by the airdrops and what they bring to the table. And we're now seeing more of what those do, and there's some true horrors in there. I think that's as far as that will go.
I think you're right.
Roll Guard, again. No further comment, Your Honour. Roadmap is shown. I think that's 100% nailed on. It's dead cert. Gonna happen.
Yes.
We saw the early roadmap at Gamma. I think we'll see that same thing again. Maybe with a couple of the redacted things put back in there.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Yeah. Somehow Karchev returned. Never went away. Still part of Deathjack. Whether he's part of Kador anymore, we don't know. He could just be retired, sat at home in an armchair in his mech suit.
Knitting.
Yeah. Orgoth Reapers.
Do you know what those are? I don't know what those are.
No.
Are they out the fluff? Are they something out of the story? I saw that and I haven't asked anyone what they are.
Could be a new cadre, perhaps? I don't know. I would say, of everything we've seen, like, Orgoth were there very early on in this edition, and they seem to have very quietly been shuffled onto the back of a shelf somewhere.
I blame Crix for that, to be honest. They were the kind of new Crix, and then Crix came along and went, yeah, but we're here.
Yeah. There's definitely some space to do something really interesting with the Orgoth Sea Raiders and a new cadre and doing some more stuff. Whether that's done or not, I don't know. I mean, we're looking at going from maybe a Signar cadre into another Kador cadre in the launch lineup, and I reckon they'll probably go over to another faction if that's
You've already had 2. Some factions have only had 1.
That's true. But as we all know, Signar and Kador are the most important.
Oh.
Tell me it's not true.
Yes. I think it's Orgoth and Dusk are the ones that have only got a single cadre.
Yeah. I definitely do think Orgoth does deserve some love. Even if it's only just to bring them back into the scene a little. I think there's a big burst of people playing them and then just nothing. I think they do need some more. Brian Bloods, I'm seeing a lot of people picking up Brian Bloods. They seem to be becoming more and more common. Signar with the Gravediggers, a lot of people are picking up them. And obviously Cricks are still working their way into the meta because...
It's interesting that all that is kind of retro, kind of harkening back to previous editions, isn't it? All those things.
I mean, the Gravediggers, yes, to an extent, but I don't think Brian Bloods are. Brian Bloods are off doing their own thing at this point. They're doing something very different to the old kind of pseudo...
True, they're different to play.
Yeah,
but I suppose that just means that it's...
And they're definitely not the old pseudo-Scottish trolls.
No, they're not, no.
Like, you don't have kilts everywhere anymore. They've definitely...
No, even I don't do that, no.
Don't turn up the table with a kilt, please.
No.
But I think they've defined a new and interesting thing for themselves that they can do radically different things with each cadre for Brian Bloods. Yeah. Anyway, new War Machine Hordes books. I think they'll stick with the subscription model in the app. They have said that there's a chance for books they want to do them. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, and doesn't mean it'll be now. Yeah, I think that's very much a nice to have. Like once you've got your core audience back, all on board, and you want to introduce some new people. I think that's the thing you do. Where you take the plot with that, goodness knows.
Well, I think you're right. The subscription model is definitely working. I do like the stuff that's come in. I hadn't even quite noticed all the Kane stuff that appeared in the app. There's so much in there to read. There's loads.
What I will say is that just going to the library tab of the app, even on PC, which is no, I'm going to bring this one up. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
I'm actually going to bring up the app if it doesn't break. So for those who do end up watching this on YouTube, you'll see what I mean by this. But even on PC with a decent sized screen, you have a 3-column view that takes a remarkably long time to scroll around and just work out what's going on, what you need to download. Like there's so much there.
There is.
But at the same time, what this needs desperately is a header page that says start here.
Yes.
You need, instead of this massive chain of names and you've got like core. Great. First core thing is the rules. Understandable.
Good.
Warcaster training guide. Fine. But then app help. You'd expect Warlock training guide to be next, but never mind. You got 2 reference files, a Journeyman League, and the Steamroller document, which, fine, okay, there's your basic rules. You close that up, you close the core section, it goes to fiction, it's like, okay, there's 2 troll things, and then some Orgoth stuff, and then some Crick stuff, I think, and then Dragonfall, and there's no like, here is the story of War Machine, here is your introduction, here's what you might want to read next.
King Leto, this, that, and the other, or anything.
It could do it, for instance, for Dragonfall. There are 5 chapters for Dragonfall. Collapse them all into one.
But then what is it? And what is it? Yeah.
Put a blurb. Like, tell people why they should be reading this stuff that you put in your app that someone is writing, that a lot of people are enjoying. Like, just make it more accessible. Make it more saleable to people. You want to bring people into this world and involve them. Like, it's... I get frustrated at things like this, and while I think the War Machine app is one of, if not the best app that is being done for tabletop wargaming today, I think there's still plenty of room for improvement. And this is certainly one of those areas. I want blurbs, I want a guide through this.
It's worth saying, I don't find the app slow. I have heard other people say that. I've never found the app slow. It might be the devices I'm running on. I think from an army building and army kind of like exploring, it's very good. But you're right. Coming into this blind, I mean, even when it was new to us, it's like, okay, what's this do? What's that for? I've not read Dragonfall.
Yeah.
There's still loads in it I haven't read. I've read the things about the characters that I want to read, and I've read the armies that I play and the characters that I play. But I haven't read everything. I only recently discovered all the Kane stuff. There's absolutely a metric ton of Kane stuff. There's all the old Kane stuff in there too.
Yeah, and it's And as I said, just frustrated by what's good could be better, I think.
Yeah, it's very good. But understanding what is where and what is quite tricky, because it is. I couldn't tell you, not properly.
Yeah.
I've been playing this game a stupidly long time.
Yes. Next to the bingo sheet, War Machine Hordes cartoon. Much as I mentally have like the image in my head of what a War Machine Hordes like Mark II anime would look like, no, it's not going to happen. I think the closest we'll ever see is that Haley versus Denny
that was good.
CG film that was made goodness knows how long ago, along with the original trailer for the War Machine video game.
Tactics, yeah.
No.
Oh.
No. Back before it was Tactics.
Oh.
Back when, rather than being the turn-based strategy it became, back when it was...
first-person shootery kind of feel.
No, it was more like Dynasty Warriors, if you know those games.
But not properly.
So the Dynasty Warriors series is very much like you pick a hero, there are vast untold legions of the same mob of guys in front of you, and you hack and slash your way through the level.
Cool.
Defending certain points, attacking certain points. It's a whole set of things. But that also had you used your focus points in that to temporarily take control of the jacks and aim through them.
Yes, I remember that in the trailer, yeah.
It was like, and that is on a long forgotten YouTube channel, that I don't think is even the Privateer Press Prime one. I think they may have lost the details to it.
Oops.
Yeah. There was it's very noticeable. There are like either 2 or 3 Privateer Press YouTube channels, and they seem to change every so often. Like, did someone lose the login to that one? Be honest.
Somebody left and nobody else knew it.
Yeah. So I mean, you can find that old trailer somewhere. I think it's still under White Moon Dreams, even though they've long departed this world. Yeah. But yeah, no, that cartoon, no, it's not happening.
No.
Oh, the wish fulfillment that people keep asking for. Black Ivan 2. Black Ivan's gone. Black Ivan is scrap metal. That Cortex has been taken apart, reused from the jack. Sorry, it's gone. I don't think we'll see it. I don't think we'll see iterations on those old character jacks. Because
no, I don't think so either.
I mean, the whole thing was that, like, yeah, eventually all warjacks are retired. If anyone has been around since like Mark 1 and Mark 2, like, you actually have that progression. The old Signar jacks are the Merc jacks of Mark 2. So you can see that where they once had the Talon, which was a stun stick and a shield, they upgraded to the Lancer, which was beefier. It had a better chance of taking out a Cortex. Like, there's always that progression. And yeah, I mean, you could bring a destroyer back in the modern age, and do something with it, but those modular warjacks have really cannibalized a lot of the space that you'd use for character jacks.
Yeah, they have. I like the recent naming acquisition of using previous character names in amongst things, and that rehashing it even more reinforces the unlikelihood of anything like that returning.
Well, I think the biggest sign of that one is moving from Ace to Deuce.
Yeah.
So you can see the echoes of it there, but it's a new thing. And the final square, I'm just going to flat out no. Mark 5. No. Stop it. I mean, technically, this isn't even Mark 4 anymore, because Steamforged...
Nope, I was going to say that.
Yep, Steamforged said they want to abandon that brand. It's confusing. It's potentially not useful. And I kind of agree with that one. The idea that War Machine is just War Machine in the same way that 40k is 40k. And you occasionally get...
I think more so, though. Because 40k says that, and then they bring out a whole new box and new release and change the rules again.
Oh,
whereas I think the gradual digital development of War Machine should be an ongoing thing, not have a shiny box that comes out redefining everything. We should have one version of the game that then gradually evolves over time. Is a much better approach.
oh, then that's more controversial. Because at that point, you do remove the ability to get to a point where you realise, oh, there is too much cruft in this system. There's too much weird interaction. We need to effectively rebase the game and take out some of this stuff. Like you needed Mark II to fix things like the formations problems and screening from Mark I. You needed Mark III to try and address the whole thing of, here is my one caster and their warjack, and then troop spam.
Yes.
They deliberately went, okay, we need to fix this, and we can't do it in the confines of this game. You needed Mark IV because they lost all the molds, but that's a side point. But even if we hadn't had that whole issue of like not having access to previous models anymore, I think Mark IV would have been necessary at some point just to go, we have too many rules interactions, we have too much stuff that's going on. These 4 rules that we've written that were separate at one point don't make any sense anymore separately. Let's combine them into one. And we've seen a lot of that down the years.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
I mean, how many variations?
We've got subtly different versions of a rule that's spread out over 3 or 4 different armies, and then
how many versions?
If we defined it and brought it together one.
How many versions of True Sight were there?
Oh, I can't even. Yes.
Now you basically just have True Sight and Eyeless Sight, and the amount of weird interactions that they get into is completely different from what they used to be. I mean, if you want to terrify anyone who did judging in Mark II or Mark III, go and ask them about Eyeless Sight and Arc Nodes.
There was a debate recently somewhere on a Reddit somewhere about that.
Oh no!
As in the last week or two, somebody was asking about if the cast's got Eyeless Sight and our casting through an Arc Node. Yeah, it's like, that's quite funny.
That's the point where I'd go and find Kev Bryant in his slow chart. the long departed Kev Bryant. He's not dead. He just doesn't play War Machine anymore.
Yeah.
Well, that we know of.
I don't think so. It hangs around on forums and Facebook, but no, I don't think it's playing War Machine.
Yeah. So I mean that is the bingo chart as presented to us. I think you're gonna have a tough time getting a bingo on that one, if I'm honest, because I think there's quite a few rows that are going to be difficult. Should we say? That's
true. Yeah, I'm just looking at rows and columns and thinking which actually does work if you literally try and play the game and quite. Yeah. There's some good ones, some obvious ones that are likely, but I think
I think the 2 Royal Guard Mark IV armies really kind of scupper most of your chances in there. Because, I mean, you do have a line that would be new mercenary, gravedigger airship, roadmap is shown, somehow Karchev's returns. Like, there's potential, but that's it's not looking great as far as your chances there. So,
no.
Yeah. I mean, so there's your War Machine Hordes... War Machine bingo card for Adepticon. Obviously, we're not going to...
Bit of fun.
Yeah, we're not going to speculate too much more on what could potentially be in there, because obviously there was the Great Leakening, and if anyone has not seen, then you're going to get a nice surprise. I believe it's... Would you say it's Friday or... No, it was Thursday, Friday, something like that. 27th, 20th. Oh, there we go.
So it's late, yeah. For us, it's going to be 3 a.m. Friday. It's Thursday night, is what they announced, I thought.
March 27th, 10 p.m. CST is what we've got. It is very interesting to be back to the whole idea of a keynote speech, though, because obviously that was something that Privateer did before, and you have that kind of the big anticipation of announcements, and you get to see like concept art of one colossal, like, oh, that's the war, and then another colossal, and then 2 more, and it was just always this great thing of like, this is really interesting. Some were more interesting than others.
Yeah.
And I will say there was a little bit of skepticism around the time that the... I'm trying to think of the name of the faction. Name's gone. Help.
Grimkin? No, where are you going?
Yes, Grimkin. There was a little bit of...
Yes.
Yeah. That was kind of like, what is this? This isn't War Machine. This is weird. Literally in some cases. Weird with a Y.
Still is quite weird.
Yeah, Grimkin were...
But now we're going to have a whole new faction that's kind of borrowing from it as well, so...
Yeah, well...
Borrowing from it. Invested in it. Elbow next to it, whatever.
Yeah.
Adjacent.
It's very much the darker end of Kador that we're looking at, so...
It's like a funny phrase, when the whole of it's pretty dark, but yes.
The fiction is particularly dark if you read into it. It's like, oh, and they did what now? Oh, no, that's terrible. Oh, no.
I can't say I've never been a Kador player, never been tempted.
I mean, as a faction, they are fun. They are very much Imperial Russia writ large.
Yeah.
But what if they made it to World War II at this point? And that's created some interesting stuff. And the whole excision of the Grey Lords has put them in a very
Infernals,
it's put them in a very interesting place as well. So because obviously you used to have that core of the army that was like you could have the Grey Lords solo and the Turnians and the cavalry, and like so much of that has just been like snip.
Good magic support. It provided good magic support for such of the army, didn't it? It was quite so in game as well as in fluff. It was a useful kind of fairly cheap way to get those abilities.
A lot of that's just gone now, which it was an interesting twist, an interesting take. But the same can be said in that Signar, after years of having no medium-based infantry, came back straight with, their main army being entirely, well, at least partially medium-based multi-wound infantry. It's like, you appear to have switched with Kador. This is odd.
Except then Kador came back with large-based infantry.
Yes, which I did take the Man of Wars to a whole new place, and I think took them to where they were intended originally.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The conceptually, definitely.
I think, this is the version of the game where we're kind of seeing a lot of the intention behind earlier stuff. It's like, I think if Krios 2 came out now, he'd be
huge.
He would come out with the large base.
So cool.
Yeah, I mean,
he was tiny.
Krios 1 was on a 30mm base, I want to say.
Yes. So is Krios 2.
Yeah, I know. But like you saw original Krios 30mm base, and then the concept art for
in Apotheosis was huge.
What was then Epic Krios, and later became Krios 2. Like that concept art, there were people on. Was there a guy on a ladder fitting his armour?
Yes.
I mean, it's that sort of like, this is a huge behemoth of a man. And then they released it, and it's on a 30mm base. Just looked weird. Although people have been complaining about Apotheosis, because it's the one book that doesn't fit in the collection. Because it's the wrong size.
It is a different format, yeah.
Yeah, intentionally so.
I can't say I've ever heard anybody complain about that for quite some time.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yes. Most people don't get it out of the box or wherever it's lying most of the time. I mean,
it's on my shelf.
Escalation is the one to get out on a regular basis. I like Escalation still, but there's less useful material in Apotheosis.
I mean, the whole kind of, unless you're looking for vibes and like the alternate paint schemes and stuff like that.
Oh, I like those. They're very good. And
those older books are very much like for fun at this point, or to just go, oh, you think this model's a problem now? Let me just read you the rules for invisibility from Mark 1. Which basically boiled down to, don't what? Don't anything.
Don't, just stop.
This model, no. So, but yes, like I said, I think we're getting to a state of the game now where a lot of that vision is being put on the table.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
I still would love to see a revamped version of Behemoth on that 80mm base, because I think it would look beautiful in a way that 50mm Behemoth and his weird chicken legs never quite got to.
So from a fluff perspective, yes, I think that would look awesome. In game, it's like how many boxes has that fucking thing got? Jesus Christ!
I mean, we've got Colossals there. It would have to be that point in between the Colossal and the standard Warjack. But yeah.
Oh, without the downsides of the Colossal and the real benefits of, oh my god, it's been so hard to get it.
I mean, the thing is, though, you look at the 80mm bases, the difference in rules between them and a Colossal, it's not a whole lot.
No, true.
A lot of the rules that say, extra large or larger, like, so you're saying Colossals and 80mm. Let's be fair here. You have the same exclusions for armor bonuses, the same exclusions for field marshals,
concealment and cover, and
yeah. Like that, a lot of it is the same. Obviously, you don't have the great machine can't be moved, yada yada, so on and so forth.
Yeah,
stuff. But a lot of it is shared. To the point where, if they were going to do a rule streamlining, I think that's probably one of the things they'd go. I think we can just tailor a couple of these rules and they'll be fine. It is interesting.
Yeah, there are subtle differences, aren't there? But yeah, they're small.
Yeah, I will say having those 80mm showpieces for each faction is very interesting.
I like them a lot. They're very different as well.
It's something you never got with the early versions of the game, because obviously there was no base size there. It just went straight up from 50 to 120, which was just a ridiculous jump. Obviously, Big Pig is only Big Pig because he's on the big base.
He's huge. I love him.
And even Magnus's 80mm Warjack is, well, chunkier. And that thing, it takes a lot to take down Magnus's Warjack these days.
Yeah, it does.
So
actually, either of them, either Big Pig or
yes, actually, you have a Big Pig is easier to take down. But yes, you do need to, like, if you want to get rid of an 80mm, you have to say, that thing must die.
Although the Dusk is a bit more vulnerable. It's less points and is more vulnerable. The Dusk, oh my god, Void Brain Fail. That thing's not as resilient.
The Void Engine, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not as resilient. But it's a different role. It's cool and they look fantastic and they look amazing. But they're a lot cheaper and they're not as resilient. Void Engine, yeah, it's the Void Engine.
Yeah, that's doing something. I don't think I've ever seen that on the table, actually. Then again, I've played Dusk relatively few times.
Okay, I was saying you've never played against like Tyrus with two of them and a whole lot of Solus going, no, you can't kill them. No, that's not dead. No, that's not dead. No. Oh, by the way, that's coming back as one of those things that's going to attack your back line in a minute.
I hate it already.
I've got two.
Oh.
But I imagine you probably knew that.
I mean, I will say I have just received a shipment of 2 80mm bases, so I can now do the Signar double chariots if I wish to.
Oh, wow.
I do also have Maelstrom ready to build right here. I'm arguing about whether for a tournament this weekend I do actually go ahead and build Maelstrom and the 2 chariots for a list that I've got with Athena, I think. Yeah, Athena, which is like, yeah, let's see how this works. Probably poorly, but oh, that was it.
Athena? Have you seen Go on. Wait. Sorry, what have you seen?
Athena with 2 coursers, Maelstrom, 2 Zephyrs, Mechanics, Legionnaires for the standard, and 2 sets of Tempest Thunderers. I don't know if it's going to work.
Does not sound fun.
I don't know if it's going to work. Let's see.
Okay.
Go on with it.
Have you seen the rather dark? It's it's not just one. There's quite a few quite dark Signar schemes.
I had seen people talking about doing dark Signar, which is interesting.
So I've seen some that look like something out of Star Wars. They look like Sith, Empire, Star Wars, Empire Signar, and I like that. So I cleared out Signar. I have almost no Signar. I have the recent mini crate.
Yeah.
And very few other bits, because I kept wanting to buy more Signar, and I kept going, no, don't buy more Signar. So the solution was just to get rid of it all. But seeing that painted in that way, I'm like, that looks like so much fun. I want to play that game. But then I think, actually, I could do it with any faction. But then none of the factions that I've got, though.
This is the thing. For all war games, factions tempt you. Every so often you go,
yeah, they do.
Maybe I can just, I've been playing these models for a while. I could just branch out a little. I could pick up a new thing. And I'm guessing you're talking about the Sarah Brisbane one as well. That's been on the War Machine Facebook group in the black and red.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's been a few though. There's been a few that have that kind of vibe.
Yeah. There's also a black Maelstrom and few of the bits and pieces. It's I will be sticking with my purple, silver, and yellow, because I believe that's one of the off schemes that was in one of the very early books. Don't quote me on that.
For Signar?
Yeah, I think it's when the Hammersmith came around.
Oh.
That's when they introduced a purple scheme for Signar.
So the purple scheme that I remember is like the defensive Lael, as in all try and take Lael back when they've got a 2-tone. I did paint a few jacks in that kind of tone, trying to have that defensive Lael. And then Chris Regard came along, and I was like, just pick Chris Regard.
Yeah, because they were effectively the remainder of the Leylee's forces with a little bit of ord chucked in.
Yeah. I think the thing to do is to wait and see what else comes out. And see what new things we might see. Because we know, from the timeline we've seen, we know, obviously, Gravediggers now. Then we've got Old Umbre coming in the summer, as we go into the summer. And then we know there is a third for new army for this year that we don't know what it is. Maybe we'll find out on Friday.
Yes, yeah. That's going to be interesting. I mean, these kind of reveals are always something to look forward to. But the problem is then you spend the next year going, but I want the thing.
Yeah.
It was in the keynote. Why isn't it out yet? So
yeah, but I'm feeling a little bit like because none of my factions have anything imminent that I'm aware of. So I've been playing Dusk a lot lately, and I really like Dusk. Chimera has definitely gone off the boil, even though I really like the Shadow and Scum blocks. Really like that. But Chimera is definitely feeling like third faction at the moment, and then Southern Creoles is probably sat at number 2. And none of them have anything that's like. Obviously Southern Creoles and Chimera have just got a cadre, so that's a weird thing to say in some respects. Really nice to have something shiny for Dusk.
I mean, I think everything will get some love eventually.
Yeah, true.
It's just
I'm not complaining about not spending money though. That's the thing as well. You look at it and go, "That's quite nice." I'm not tempted to spend more money. That's all good.
I actually think it's one of the things that previously Privateer and now Steamforged have been clever with so far. In that there's been no point at which I kind of feel overwhelmed with the new stuff that's coming in. I never feel like I can't catch up. Even if there's a release, it's like, oh, okay, I'll buy that in the next few weeks. And I know that for like some months, I will be fine. It's not like some games have had where it's like, okay, I bought the thing and up 2 weeks later, there's a new thing announced. And then, so in 4 weeks after that, then I'll become Tournament League. I have to buy that as well. It's like, it's been a very, the purchases are chunky, but they are infrequent.
Yes.
And I also think we haven't particularly had.
I think some of that.
Oh, go on.
I was going to say, I think some of it is because the stuff that has come out new lately isn't our armies. So I look at Cricks, and I've never liked Cricks. I've never been a fan. I know they're an important part of the game, and they're kind of a evil bad guy anchor thing. But I'm not even slightly possessed to want to buy Cricks. I think it's because the stuff we've had recently, I haven't been massively possessed to buy. And I'm sure it'll come around again where I go, oh my God, I've got no money and I want to buy all these things. I'm sure that's imminent again.
Potentially. You never know with these things. But yeah, that is very often the way they go. I was just trying to look for that Gamma release list.
It was an awful lot of play kind of kits and tournament pack type things, and there was several areas like that, and more rewarding kind of painting and rewarding other hobby kind of elements too. There were several elements of it like that. I didn't think there were a hell of a lot of miniatures in it. Or do you mean the timeline that was there?
Yeah.
I definitely had it. I don't know if I can find it.
Riveting radio.
I was going to say exactly that. No, I can't see anything from just having a quick search.
No, I've definitely seen that one. Although it was what was interesting alongside that was the fact that War Machines crept back into the top 10 in the ICV2 sales.
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
Which is not something that I would have put money on, to be honest.
No, it's felt a bit niche and corner, doesn't it, for a while?
Given that, the game went through a bad period, and has been in a heavy rebuild phase, which it's, depending on your point of view, it's either still going through or has a lot of time still to be in. And it used to be challenging up there for top, was it 3, 4?
Yeah, I think briefly 2.
It may have briefly been 2, but I think X-Wing kind of just gave it
oh yeah, it came out. Yeah, it did really come out.
X-Wing came out of nowhere, gave it an absolute kicking, and that that went into Barnes and Noble. That's why that was selling through the roof. But it was interesting seeing some of the other games on there. I know it's very American focused, but they've very much got a from me. What was it? It's not Mech Warrior. It's BattleTech.
I was thinking of that as well. Yes, BattleTech.
Seeing BattleTech is like number 2. Like I know that's huge in America. Very much confused me because I know 2 people who play it, and they're very much devotees. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
I didn't think they were still bringing new stuff out for it, but it wouldn't be that high if people weren't still buying it and new stuff wasn't still coming out.
They still are. They're doing those. The new. It's a cut down version of the game, effectively.
Like a quick start kind of. Or
there we go. I've got that part of it. So number 10, War Machine, which is like okay, that's unexpected, but fine, I guess. Number 9, A Song of Ice and Fire.
I suppose my biggest question there is still. I mean, I know it was huge, but is it still huge? Wow.
I've seen one game of that down Born in Brum. It's like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay. I was going to say something there about Cool Mini or not, but for legal reasons, I'm not going to.
No.
Yeah. Number 8, we've got Bones and Reaper. That's an interesting one. I guess the D&D kind of we need figures for the tabletop is still selling through those, which you'll also see later. If you get your hands on the sort of the plasticky bones ones. They're very flexible, hard-wearing. You know that rubbery plastic you get with board games quite a lot?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I've painted those models. They are absolutely fine to paint. They don't have a heck of a lot of detail, but they are good enough to put on your tabletop and have like a nice centerpiece model. It's like, here is my dragon, and rather than costing 200 quid, it cost me 12.
Yes.
So, I mean, I can see where they're getting sales. Halo Flashpoint from Mantic.
Yeah, I don't get that one. Is it really saying that much? Jesus, well, it must be. It will be there, but
Yeah,
it just...
I mean, I don't see it as being below number 6, which is Marvel Crisis Protocol, which I thought would have been higher up on this chart, but I'm told there are reasons why it is slowly migrating its way down this chart.
Is it?
I think Atomic Mass maybe do not have the best of community reputations across their games at the moment. That's all I'll say. I think...
No, don't go any further than that. That's a bit sad.
Yeah, I think Marvel Crisis Protocol, I think, has had a lot of its time in the sun. I think now that we're seeing the MCU kind of quietly be dampened down and spread out a bit, I think some of the rush for it has died off.
That is a game that I bought quite a few bits of. I've never... Oh, no, I did start playing some stuff of it. But lots of it is just sat back in the boxes. And have I ever played it? I have played a little bit, like a couple of small games. I like the idea of it more than the reality. I think it's probably how I feel about that game.
Yeah, honestly, for me, licensed stuff like that, after X-Wing and how badly burned I was with that, I don't touch anymore. And in fact, World of Warcraft, the trading card game, did it as well. Where
I have Shatterpoint as well. I've got Shatterpoint as well.
The license ran out and games died underneath me, so I don't tend to touch the big license.
Wow, I'm not surprised.
At number 5, again, huge surprise, and I'm guessing this because this is just for autumn of 2024. We'll stress this. Number 5, HeroScape. That's the launch window for HeroScape, or the reboot of HeroScape. So I'm guessing that's why that's that high up. I mean, HeroScape, interesting in terms of like, it's this big hex-based thing, and you get all this terrain to build, and well, you're building the landscape effectively. I have zero interest because you have to have like a proper, mansion in which to store all your HeroScape once you have bought into HeroScape, because storing that is an effort in and of itself. 4th, Age of Sigmar. I think that's about where I'd expect it, to be honest. It's it's GW's second game. It's fine. It's doing well. I quite enjoy it. I don't get as many games of it as I'd like to, but them's the breaks.
I don't own any of it. I played old school fantasy, but I've never really bought back into that.
It's basically 40k light. And also, as much as people don't want to admit this, testing ground for 40k rules. A lot of the stuff that goes into Age of Sigmar works its way into the next edition of 40k. So I'm going to say, if the next edition of 40k doesn't include the wounds mechanic from Age of Sigmar, I will be very surprised. Which is where you don't assign wounds to models, you assign them to units. And once,
the unit has a wound count.
And once, each model effectively has a wound count. But what you do is you assign the wounds to the unit, and once it hits the limit of a model, you take a model off. So you don't have this whole thing of this guy at the back right is the injured one, and so I have to I have to take all my saves in cover because that's the injured one. You don't have any of that.
Okay, it's nearly doing that now, but not quite.
Yeah. 40k has this weird thing where it's like, okay, I've got Marnius Calguard, Victrix Guard, the Biologists, and these aggressors all in one unit, and depending on who's in and out of cover and what the toughness of something is and what I've taken wounds on before, that's where the wounds... It's like, oh my god, this is horrifically awful and bad. Just fix this. And they never will. But, well, they might do in the future. I think that mechanic's going to 40k. But, side point entirely. So Sigmar, 4th, kind of get what that is. 3rd, this one kind of got me unawares, but makes sense. Nolza's Marvelous Miniatures, the D&D stuff.
I was like, what the hell's that?
It's WizKids, but it's D&D pseudo miniatures. Totally understandable. I can get why that's there. And as said, BattleTech number 2, absolutely just completely blown away by that.
I think there just must be more players than we're aware of. I don't think there are that many players here, but worldwide, who knows where?
Yeah,
it must be. Let's see the weeks.
It's got legacy. I know that Catalyst have been supporting it for ages. I've played one game, did not like it, backed it entirely. Nope, sorry, I'm done.
I think that's about my limit as well, to be honest. Definitely seen it, definitely played it, or somebody else's models. Don't think I've ever bought it. I might have bought one ages ago, a long time ago. But then got sucked to 40k, probably.
Well, and as said, the top one is, and probably will ever be, 40k, because, it's a thing.
It's the biggest gateway there is.
Yeah, I have had these discussions with people even recently. It's like, oh yeah, but shouldn't people be playing these more interesting games, these things that do other things? It's like, well,
maybe.
It's really nice to have on every high street, even though it's a little bit pricey, a shop where someone can go in, get a demo of a game, see a model, maybe paint one up. Like, it's nice to have that there as the gateway for people to go, ooh, this is interesting. In much the same way as it's nice that newsagents carry Combat Patrol, and someone might see a little plastic kit with some nippers as issue 1, like, oh, I'll build a Space Marine. Like,
yeah,
it's good to have that so that you have that experience of, here are some models, I can roll some dice. Oh, what are those people over the other side of the club playing? That's where we all started.
This is called War Machine. Yes, it is.
Like, I started in secondary school, and it was a case of like, oh, there's 40k here, there's Necromunda over there. I realised these are all Games Workshop products, but that was the world at the time. And
my first was Blood Bowl, first edition Blood Bowl when I was 13, with the cardboard cutout things, and then I bought an army. I bought a team and painted it up. That's the first things I painted were Blood Bowl players, and then a few years later, Space Hulk, and then that was a definite gateway board game into 40k.
Oh yeah, that whole Milton Bradley. It was Milton Bradley. That whole Milton Bradley spate of stuff where you got like I think it was Space Crusade first of all.
Oh yeah, that was around. Yeah, I think I got some of that and used it. Yeah, got it for the miniatures, I think.
You got Space Crusade, Hero Quest, all that sort of stuff. The stuff that was like had TV adverts for GW products done by Milton Bradley. Like that was a huge gateway for people. And then Space Hulk, obviously, with the video games as well. That was another window in. So I'm all for people having these nice little kind of like ways to break in easily. And 40k is it, man. It has never been easier to buy 10 Space Marines.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's the thing. Okay. I realise we've been running a while. So do we perhaps want to move on to what we are doing hobby-wise at the moment?
Yeah, happy to do that. Right now, or since while I've been talking, I dug out my Sea King. I actually dug out. It's been sat on the side of my painting table for far too long. Because I didn't get round to buying the Abyssal King. I've never even proxied him. So I am painting up from, I don't know how many colours. It was just started. So I've been putting more colours on and adding some flair to my Sea King. And I also, when we first started, was gouging out some of the hull of the ship that sits on his back. Because this model's not going to get used for anything else. So that I can probably blue tack 2 of the cannons into it to make it a sort of proxy as the Abyssal King for some games at the weekend. So I'm off to... So the reason I can't attend the event that you're playing in on Saturday is that the Tiverton Wargaming Club, that's probably not exactly what they're called, I've probably got that wrong, don't want to kill me. A little Wargaming Club down in Tiverton are having an open day. So I'm taking War Machine down there, lots of tables. I think we've got about 12, 14 players playing War Machine, and there's some 40k going on as well, and some other games, Kill Team and things, I think, coming to play on Saturday. So this is me expanding my my Shadow and Scum Foulblood army, but to include a Sea King, to include the Abyssal King, just for a laugh. But so I'm painting him up to proxy as the Abyssal King, as an appropriate proxy, probably right size, scale, level of intimidation. To get him on the table, because I can't see me ever playing him as the Sea King. I do have all my old trolls, but I'm never really possessed to get them out, particularly not possessed to get rid of them either. So yeah, that's what I'm playing. But I mean, recently I've been spending a lot of time painting the Shadow and Scum box, but that's nearly there now. The trolls are done, and the Chimera are nearly there. How about you? What are you painting of late?
Well, since the last podcast, I've kind of I've finished painting some Space Marines, and Well, the annual bonus came in at work, and I am weak, and I saw the Grey Knights
Oh, yes.
starter box, and I bought 4 of those.
4.
Yes. So I have 20 Grey Knight Terminators, 20 Grey Knight Strike Force, 4 of the Baby Walkers, and 4 Librarians to build, and Kelbor Drago, and that's it. And a Venerable Dreadnought, and a Terminator Chaplain. So some of which I've already built, but I'm actually making, hobby-wise, actually something of a different spin on the basing. Obviously, for kind of years now, I've gone with the same basing, which is like, here is some brown earth. I shall dry brush that with some graveyard earth, and then we shall put some grass on top, and that will be done. Like, it's fine, but I've done a lot of that. And obviously, I've also done over the years a lot of with my original Kador and my Imperial Guard. I've done some snow stuff as well.
Yep.
So for the Grey Knights, I've decided to go completely different direction. It is my first time using cork as a basing material.
Ah, cool.
Which I don't do that. So this is new. Breaking some of that up as like sandstone sheets. I have some Vallejo diorama desert sand to go in between that to fill in the cracks.
Nice.
And I've got some lovely sort of pinky purple tuft and blue crystals to go on the bases as well. Just for a bit of
I saw some pictures of that you posted.
For a bit of visual interest.
Yes.
Because I thought, well, it's Grey Knights. They're going to be all effectively two-tone silver, undershot with a dark one and overshot with a light one, with bits
exciting,
bits of red and white on. It's Grey Knights. What are you going to do?
Indeed.
So I thought I might as well branch out a bit and see what I can do basing wise. This is me trying to do something different. I've not got around to painting any of it yet because I'm still at the assembly phase. I have one of the Baby Walkers sprues sitting looking at me accusingly from across the room right now because
they do that.
The base is done. Even if some of the cork is lifting a bit, we're gonna have to work on that one. So I should have put more glue on there. But
I steered away from PVA for basing quite some time ago, and I am very much a super glue for basing kind of person these days.
It is super glued. It's just not enough or in the right places.
Okay, fair enough.
Because what I'm trying to do initially is I'm breaking up the cork and then a bit like I'm boring myself. A bit like dry stone walling, trying to kind of assemble something that looks like cracked rock on top.
Nice.
So this means I don't necessarily always have all the super glue in the right place at the right time.
I remember building sort of mountainous terrain out of cork, and generally getting asked if I'm going to do all my basing as breakfast cereal in the future. There was a signal scheme I was working on to try and do sort of mountainous bits, and it didn't entirely work as I'd hoped it would, but yeah, it did get me some interesting comments.
You were using much thicker cork than I am. I've only got 2mm sheets.
This is quite chunky stuff I was breaking up, yeah.
Yeah, this is... I was actually quite surprised when it arrived in the post, because like a pack of 15 2mm sheets, like this
weighs nothing.
This does not feel like this is 15 sheets of anything. 15 sheets of paper, maybe. And it's a lot more flexible and a lot more... when you break up cork, you expect it to have a fairly rough edge. This doesn't have quite as much of that. You've got to work more to get that kind of textured edge that you want.
Okay.
So it's interesting to work with so far, and yeah, when I get results, I will post them.
Awesome.
On the gram, as the kids say.
On the gram, indeed.
Yes. Possibly on my Blue Sky as well. Who knows?
I don't go on there enough. I really should get in the habit of going on Blue Sky more often.
Yeah. And yeah. So actually, that's one of the things I do need to actually bother to set up a page for the Blue Sky for here. So there will be one eventually. It hasn't been set up yet, although I don't need to rush because it will be tied to the new elitecardray.uk domain name that we have.
Woohoo!
Anyway, us having sat here for a good couple of hours now, I think it is probably time that we wrap up the episode. So you've been listening to Elite Cardray, the War Machine podcast that doesn't take itself too seriously. I've been Mike.
I've been Kurt. I was waiting for you to say hordes, but of course we don't do that anymore. We haven't done that in ages.
See, it's still there. It's still in the brain. Property Press.
I also started predominantly playing Horde's faction. I think that might be some of it too, playing trolls. There's still a lot of it.
Property Press are still living rent-free inside your head.
Indeed.
You've been listening to Elite Cadre, a War Machine podcast. Email us at elitecadrepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at elite_cadre. Music provided by Martin DeBont and Symphony of Spectres. For more details on War Machine and its upcoming releases, please visit steamforged.com.